Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to another Diablo 4 video. This time it's a super important update because I did some crazy changes to my Paragon board. I really managed to put in a 6 glyph without sacrificing too much damage. Not only not to sacrifice too much damage, I'd rather have way more HP now, which results in a way higher Thorns output. Let's buff up here, and I'm gonna show you this in a whatever, random tier 100. Oh, Mercy's Reach, probably not kill the boss. My glyphs are maxed out anyways. Yeah, like I sipped some, like the best probably was build increase maximum life by 20%, which means basically 20% more damage. And I'd like to use this one, that's the right one. Increase life by 500, so that's my preferred buff food here. Yeah, as you can see I have 100,000 life. This is without pressing a shout. The click of a button, you get double that in with 45, right? Around 50k thorns. Okay, we are off for a good start. Are you serious? The Berserk Helm? So you would pull them together and then just one-shot them with shouts. More about that on my gear in a second. But yeah, that's basically the core mechanic. It's a Thorns, Dust Devil, proc, Barb. Yeah, and that's all I do. All I do with this build, like I grab him and I one-shot them with shouts. That's the build in a nutshell. Fill up the inventory, go sell this shit in town. Fill up the inventory, rinse and repeat. And Mercy's Reach is such a nice dungeon, but not the boss, because the boss is a Tomb Lord. If I remember correctly. Bro, I can't believe this helm dropped, like one step into this dungeon. Also, I'm so heartbroken I cannot show you the grabber. Like I AFK'd probably 20 Grigors easily, and I haven't gotten it to drop. Like real talk. I'm so sad I can't show you the weapon, because they would speed up the farming tremendously. Grabbing them, like it has so much cooldown reduction for the ability because of plus skills, and also it whips them with 2 additional chains with 5 instead of 3, which is just crazy. Which is just crazy. Like you can grab so many leap packs at once. Also with the Thorns build, I think a lot of people play this. The build has a little bit of hype, obviously, in Season 4. And some people probably play this for the first time, or they are thinking, bro, what? Wait, what? Like you get hit, you reflect damage, like what? How does that even work? So first of all, it has a pretty decent AoE range. You see, this was not melee range. So the range from Thorns, approximately, is around this. Let's say from my character to this 3k gold, that's approximately the range. So, like we don't reflect their damage back, right? We reflect our Thorns damage back. That's a little bit different. Sometimes you gotta play around with the Thorns mechanic. Like generally speaking, the more monsters there are around, the better. So they can nice and properly one-shot themselves. It's a little bit sadistic. The build is a little bit sadistic. It's also just passive-aggressive. The damage is also a little bit delayed, because you gotta wait until they hit you. Then you actually... Let's talk about the new Paragon board here for a second. The glyphs are pretty much the same. The only difference is I have a 6 board, and I also had to relocate some points in order to have some spare points in the first place. So starting off with Vulnerable, only to unlock the bonus. Scaling up the Dust Devil damage by almost 600% at this point. The glyph is level 21, and this board has a lot of strength nodes, 10 to be exact. And yeah, everyone gives like almost 40. I think it's 10 strength nodes. Like I swapped the glyphs around, and this seemed to be the best board for it. It's the board Carnage, by the way, but of course there's a planner attached. Bonebreaker would be the next. Like I got rid of some damage by berserking. I got rid of my beloved inner strength node. This socket is territorial. So both glyphs are level 20, like all of my glyphs are level 21. But compare the damage here real quick. So a maxed out level 21 territorial gives around 10%. The Twisted Glyph gives 40%. Oh my god. I bet they get rid of this after season 4 or well, we will see, but it's a crazy multiplier for sure. The next board is Decimator. Grab Brawn here, more life, a little bit of damage, why not? I have Revenge now here because it gives bonuses to the yellow nodes, right? To the rare ones. And it's a little bit more beneficial to have it here for the vulnerable damage. Moving on to the next board. It's Blood Rage. This buff is up all the time. And yeah, everything that dies, if they die from thorns, they were bleeding. So this buff is up all the time. Really, really nice. And the newest addition is the Glyph Disembowel. I chose the board Warbringer because first of all, yeah, it's easy to unlock this. There's plenty of willpower here. And there's even more life here. There would be a total of 8%. Yeah, there would be a total of 8% more over here. It would work, but there's like literally no damage multiplier no more whatsoever. Like no damage to elites, no damage by berserking. And then I really could unlock this. Is it worth it? Maybe. But yeah, Disembowel, man. Read the ability. Killing a bleeding enemy has a 10% chance to reduce the cooldowns of your non-ultimate active cooldowns by 1 second. Every mob that dies has a chance to reset Shout. If Shout gets resetted, I can shit out more 600% damage Dust Devils. Well, it's actually around 1k because I have Dust Devil damage temperings on my weapons. Yeah, man. It's just insane. It's just insane and fits the build so well. Also, sometimes, if I would want to be more tanky, and I don't care about the cooldown resets too much, because this is more useful for speed farming as well, because it speeds up just everything. Just get rid of this. Use Imbibber instead. Or Undaunted. Really like Undaunted for the DR. But yeah, Disembowel is nuts. Especially in combination with the ring. But that brings me to my new skill tree. I make up for the lost tankiness in the Paragon board with a maxed out challenging shout. I only had 1 point here before. This is absolutely worth maxing. And yeah, every point here gives like 2% DR. Really, really nice. So I have the DR basically back. The skill tree really quick. So I'm using 4 into Frenzy just to unlock, just to skip the core skills and unlock the next one. 4 in here, into Combat Frenzy. This gives damage reduction. For like easier content, let's say just spamming tier 60 to 70 Nightmare Dungeons just to fill up the inventory with crap items, sell them, rinse and repeat. I sometimes swap to Flay. Like same thing, 4 points into Flay and 1 point into Combat Flay. Because it gives also DR, but way less. No big deal in like a tier 60, right? Doesn't really matter. But it's about the stacking up the Thorns damage even more. So I can clear trash even faster. Sometimes I swap to this. But yeah, for like base tanking a Butcher for a while, higher the pit levels, I think Frenzy is the way to go. Moving on to the next ones here. Maxing out the passives to be tanky. I have plus skills for opposing presence on my gear. Preferably I want more temperings of this. 1 into Rallying Cry, into Strategic Rallying Cry. Yeah, for like the fortification, the click of button. Now Iron Skin. This in combination with the aspect, the Iron Warrior, makes this like a little ultimate. And that's the reason why I have like 100% unstoppable uptime on this build. One of the shouts gives unstoppable too. But I don't know about you, but like getting stunned or frozen, or not only does it mean most of the time just the death of the character, but it's too frustrating for me. Like it's too frustrating for me. Like in Diablo 4, I want a build who has 100% unstoppable endgame. And I can reach this only, like I did reach this only so far with a druid and a barb. Therefore, Iron Skin with the aspect is so good, man. 1 into Outburst just to unlock Toughest Nails. I maxed this one out. Maxed out challenging shout, as I mentioned, to for the DR. Into strategic challenging shout, because this almost doubles the thorns damage. 1 into Warcry, into Mighty Warcry. Again, 45, 45, 45. I have only 2 points into Booming Voice, but I maxed out the Yell. And it's sufficient enough because of the cooldown reduction. Like the shouts are up all the time. Maxing out aggressive resistance. I put this 1 point into Hamstring. This is more a PvP thing. Might as well put more points into Steel Grasp, but yeah, that's just what I did. Maxing out Pit Fighter and maxing out Slaying Strike. This is so good. You deal 23% increased damage against injured enemies. Most of the time, monsters are just one shot. Okay, monsters are just one shot. Like at a certain point, it doesn't even make a difference. If you have 80k life or 100k life, monsters just... Elite packs disappear off your screen. Like it looks so funny sometimes. But higher Nightmare Dungeons. What are rather certain Nightmare Dungeons, right? When there's stupid modifiers on the key. Higher the pits and so on. When mobs get a little bit more tanky, this helps tremendously in terms of clear speed. So really good. 1 point into Steel Grasp, into Fight the Steel Grasp. This is the main source of berserking. Like just start off the fight. Yeah, the grabber is just good, man. It's important to have as many monsters around as possible. As I mentioned in the intro. And yeah, playing a Thorns Barb without the grabber feels not nice. Feels not nice, okay. 1 into Thick Skin to unlock counter offensive, nice damage multiplier. And I have 3 into Duelist because I'm using Frenzy and I want to hit with Frenzy a little bit faster. My Keystone passive here is Unconstrained. Damage buff builds up pretty much all the time. Yeah, that's my new Paragon board and the Skilltree. Maybe I can share the gear here real quick. Of course, there will be a planner attached in the description below. But I'm using the Iron Warrior aspect on the helm, which makes Iron Skin an even better ability. I have a Razor Blade here. I have Death Wish on the gloves. Really nice attack speed here for Frenzy. Numbing Wrath on the pants. I have Ghost Walker on the boots. I swap this all the time, depending on what I do. Sometimes I have Exploiters here. The one that says, after hitting 5 basic skills, I have a chance to reset the cooldown is also neat, but not really needed at this point. Like Disembowel and Bold Chieftain is enough to rotate through these shouts like nothing. Needle Flare on the 2-hander here. Super important. Moving on, I have Axes here for the damage to healthy. Like a amazing multiplier for Thorns. Because, yeah, like using swords wouldn't do much. Like Thorns cannot crit. Hence the crit damage would be useless. I'd rather go with Axes here. If possible, Dust Devil damage everywhere. I have Dust Devil size here. That's okay. Scales the damage up as well because of Fierce Winds. Sadly, I have Frenzy duration here. It's not that bad. Yeah, of course, Dust Devil would be even better. Running a Grandfather because I found one. The first Uber unique in more than 3,000 hours. Crazy. And only because they changed the drop rates. So this says I deal more damage when standing still. Kicks in all the time. You grab him, 1, 2, 3, boom, 30% multiplier. Really good for the build. This is another mechanic that can reset the shouts. The shouts can reset themselves. The more monsters are nearby, the better it is. This with Disembowel makes it so we can spam cooldowns. Sometimes it feels like a permanent haste shrine. That's the best my ability, how I can describe it. It's just a permanent haste shrine. If you get a haste shrine on top of it with this build, well, yeah, I can't even press the buttons fast enough. That's how it goes. And I have Fierce Winds on the amulet. Because shout skills create 3 Dust Devils. And they deal 4k damage each. And I can preferably, best case scenario, proc 9 of them at once. By pressing all 3 shouts. Scaling the Dust Devils damage up by more than 600%. Like almost 600 just from the Twister Glyph alone. Yeah, that's a little update. If you found this interesting or anything, feel free to give the video a like. Consider subscribing. And yeah, have a nice day, guys. Later.